At 25 years old, I've experienced more in life than most people will in their entire lifetimes. From all the materialistic stuff, like am I gonna drive my Lamborghini Sterrato or my Porsche GT3, or am I simply just gonna chill out in the back of my Rolls-Royce Phantom or my Maybach? All the way from the unimportant crap like that to achieving my childhood dreams, like buying my mom a $4 million house in cash, to building 10 schools in Nepal and South Africa for thousands of kids. I have honestly lived such an eclectic life at this point. And the reason I'm able to live this life since the age of 17 is because from a very early age, I focused on one thing and one thing only, even if at first I didn't even realize that I was doing it, which was building my personal brand. And in this video, I'm gonna give you my 5-step action plan to launch a personal brand from zero and get it to your first few thousand followers within the next 12 weeks, as well as the tools you need to monetize this personal brand using the most profitable type of offer there is. This is the only thing I personally recommend to close friends of mine, whether they're only making $1,000 a month or they're already making $1 million a month. Now, this video is gonna be broken down into 3 parts. The first is the math to make $1 million with this asset. The second is the 5-step done-for-you personal branding system. And the third is how to apply my exact systems, processes, everything that I use to generate $108 million for my personal brand. And I have 2 promises for you today. The first is that there is not a person watching this right now who can't 10x their income with a personal brand. And the second is that I'm not selling you a course to end this. So all of you keyboard warriors can just chill out. Now let's begin by actually breaking down the numbers on what it actually takes to make $1 million with your personal brand. And I'm gonna do that by showing you the regular approach most people take and why that's the reason that 95% of them fail. Now, as I've already shown you in the previous episodes of The One Thing, there are 2 parts to the success equation here. The first one is a personal brand, and this is what everyone who's successful today is going all in on. Alex Hormozi, Dan Koh, Luke Belmar, even entrepreneurs in boring established industries such as Ryan Serhant in real estate or Ray Dalio in economics. Even all of the billionaires, Musk, Zuckerberg, Trump, they are all going all in on growing their personal brands on social media. And of course, there's a reason as to why they are doing this. In fact, there's actually 2 reasons. The first one is that this is a booming industry. This new personal brand economy currently moves $684 million a day in sales, and it is projected to grow to 1.3 billion per day by 2028. Meaning, this is the industry that will create the next generation of billionaires. And this is exactly why all of the current billionaires are jumping into this for 2025. They do not want to lose their spot, and you are choosing to ignore this. Please tell me, if the wealthiest guys in the world today know that they need a personal brand, what makes you think that you're the one person that doesn't need one? Now, the second reason is having a personal brand is a hack to starting and scaling a successful business. It's what I always say, with a personal brand, you can do everything wrong and still make truckloads of money because fundamentally it removes the obstacles of launching and scaling a business. Regular business takes $10,000 to $20,000 to start, 6 to 12 months to even break even, years to scale, and all of that taking significant risk. With a personal brand, you can just skip all of that. You can launch something spending less than $1,000, see a return within a few weeks, and scale fast. It basically allows you to start and scale a business with nearly 0 risk because you know it will be successful. That is the first part of the equation. And the second one is digital products. Look at all these same people again. How are they all monetizing their personal brands? Digital products. Alex Hormozi, how did he make his money? He made his money with Gym Launch. Now, maybe a lot of you guys don't know this and it was, kind of rebranded slightly and all that, but what is Gym Launch? It is a digital product on how to acquire clients for your gym that was sold in the format of coaching. That was all it was, and that's how he made nearly $70-80 million from that. Dan Koh, he has a book and a digital product. Luke Belmar, he has about a $400-ish digital product. Ryan Serhant has digital products. Now listen, maybe you might try to discredit these people or say, oh, but they're just online gurus. Well, even Ray Dalio, the founder of the largest hedge fund in the world, where does all of his content point to? It points to a video that sells his book. And through what medium are most of his books sold? Digitally. Can you kind of see the point I'm making here? It's all different formats. Now, whether it's a high-ticket digital product, coaching, whether it's a low-ticket thing, whether it's a book, whether it's a PDF, whether it's a guide, all of this stuff still fundamentally is paid information. It's info, it's digital products. As I said, these are all different formats for the same thing, a digital product. It is all info. And by the way, when you go to a tax advisor or a McKinsey type of consultancy firm and that all the Fortune 500 companies pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to help them grow, they are also selling info. So it doesn't matter if it's coaching, coaching, consulting, books, courses, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It is all info. It's just a matter of how you decide to package it up. And as long as it is delivered digitally, it is a digital product. So the equation to success in 2025 is crystal clear. Personal brand plus digital product. Now, going back to the actual numbers on what it actually takes to make $1 million with this. And here is where 95% of people fail with this equation. Most people that try to start monetizing with digital products never take the time to evaluate their business strategy on a fundamental level. They simply fail to understand the different business strategies for selling digital products. The truth is, some business strategies will allow you to make millions a month, but will also require you to have millions of views from your personal brand. Whereas others will allow you to make up to 6 figures with as little as just a few thousand followers, sometimes even just 1,000 followers. And most people simply choose the wrong business strategy to start with. Listen, making this mistake is kind of like trying to start playing a new video game in the hardest difficulty instead of working your way up. So, people end up spending tons of time spinning their wheels, which results in them getting frustrated and consequentially quitting. Now, what if you decided to actually evaluate how attainable the strategies out there are before risking your money and time on them? Well, let's actually do that together right now. Let's say you want to make $1 million with your personal brand in 2025. Well, here's what you need to evaluate before adopting a specific strategy. For you to get to $1 million in revenue, how many sales of your products do you need to make? And going a step further, for you to make this amount of sales, how many clicks do you need on your digital product page? And then third, in order to get this amount of clicks, how many views do you need on your videos or your posts? And then from this number of views, you'll know how achievable this is actually going to be. So let's actually run through this process right now. Let's go to strategy 1 here. Now, one of the biggest trends I see is to launch a low ticket digital product focused on MRR. That is monthly recurring revenue. Now you have these guys who are like, oh, if you have 1,000 people paying you $100 a month, that is $100,000 a month. And then if you times that by 12, that's $1.2 million in a year. But is that actually true? Are these people actually qualified to talk about these things? Have they actually ever done the thing that they're telling you to do? Or are they just talking out their ass? Well, let me just tell you the honest truth. Your retention on those 1,000 people will probably be about 3 to 4 months in a good scenario, especially at that kind of price point. Now, when you're first starting out with this whole info, MRR, low ticket model, your average retention will probably be only 2 to 3 months because you don't know what you're doing. And listen, as I said, this is where I find that model so preposterous, being promoted by people who have never done it before, don't actually know whether it works in the real world, and they're not factoring in the number one thing. Anytime you have any subscription business, by the way, all my businesses now are subscription businesses. I have multiple software companies. I actually have a mobile app that is a low ticket monthly subscription. And to me, the funniest thing that people don't factor in is churn. Churn on this kind of thing is so high, and I'll explain to you why in just a second. So when someone in the info space tells me their MRR, I go, who cares? Instead, you should be focused on what is your LTV. So looking at your churn rate, and you can track based on your churn, you'll be able to understand, okay, if I keep losing X amount of customers, this is what my LTV is, as in this is how much a customer is worth to me. And then you times that by the amount of people you get. And this is like, I guess maybe just because my businesses are software subscription businesses these days, and they primarily have been for the last couple years especially, I just look at it and I'm like, you're really setting people up to fail, like truly. So I'm telling you, especially as a beginner who's never dealt with info before, you know, you're not an expert in the info space, you're first getting started out. Even if you do manage to get 1,000 people paying for your low ticket subscription, info MRR subscription, those people are only gonna stay for 2 to 3 months on average. So you got a $200 to $300 LTV. So it's 1,000 people times 2 to 300, depending on the LTV, whatever. Let's just even say it's 300. So that's 1,000 times 300. That's 300K. That is far from $1 million. Listen, that's still pretty good money, of course. But then you have to ask yourself, what does it actually take to get 1,000 customers? Well, let me just show you the real numbers. You see, I'm the owner of one of the biggest online learning subscription apps in the world, Digital Launchpad. If there's anyone who understands about MRR, retention, and low ticket info, it's me. Within the first 50 days of launching, we were already at 500,000 a month MRR and have been slowly scaling since. But I will tell you, it has been so incredibly difficult, 10 times more difficult than all of the other tens of millions of dollars I've made with info. I've made more money than all these other guys who promote low ticket MRR for info combined, way more. And I know for a fact that to get 1,000 people to join your low ticket MRR, you need around 100,000 people seeing your product page. We call that conversion rate. And this is the percentage of people who buy your digital product out of everyone who actually visits your product page. Now at scale, where you're pushing a lot of volume, those conversion rates tend to be sub 1%. Now, do you know how many people you need watching your videos to get 100,000 unique visitors to your product page? On my best videos, I get about 10% of people who watch them clicking the link to my digital product page. That means you need 1 million people watching your video or your piece of content to get 100,000 people clicking to get 1,000 buyers to then make $200,000 to $300,000 based on the LTV for info, especially as a beginner. And listen, if you're getting 1 million views and not making at least $1 million, you're doing something incredibly wrong. I don't want to promote a model where you need to get 1 million views to be successful. And by the way, I'm not saying getting to 1 million views isn't achievable. I'm telling you right now, there's gonna be a lot of people watching this video today who will implement what I've taught you and are gonna get there in the next few months. All I'm saying is you don't want to depend on getting millions of views just to make money with this. F that. We want to make good money with as low as just a few thousand followers. And then some people will say, oh, but you can sell your low ticket MRR with paid traffic. Well, isn't it convenient that you're talking to the person who did this for years and years at my agency? My agency serviced info product clients from 2018 to 2022. That's what I did for years. You know, this whole like info product growth operator concept, that's me. Like I did that for years. I'm the original person that did that. I did that from 2018. We used to help clients launch and scale digital products to 6, 7, and even 8 figures through paid traffic. And you know what was our #1 no-go of our agency? Working with clients whose product was less than $500 upfront. Why? Well, let's do what no one else does. Let me just show you the real numbers because I practice what I preach and I'm the only one who can show you this. You see, the most common MRR price point for low ticket info is about $50 a month. So let's say you're sending traffic that way. Now here is how much my digital product page converted on paid traffic during a specific month in 2024. As you can see right here, 0.7% conversion rate, meaning you need 143 people on your digital product page to get 1 sale. And by the way, I'm being very generous here, by the way, because in this instance, this is only advertising to people who already know me, follow me, and watch my videos in the last 30 days, which of course is going to have a higher conversion rate than advertising to people who don't know you like they would in this example. And by the way, that was also for a product that costs $37 a month, which is cheaper than the $50 a month example that we're using here. But nonetheless, let's still use these numbers. 143 people for 1 purchase. Now, how much does it cost to get 103 people to your product page? Well, let's just check out how much it cost me last month. And you can see right here, the top campaigns. And I'm literally just going to show you, expose it here on screen, how much it cost. $2.07, $2.12, $1.33. That is how much I'm paying for a click. Now, bear in mind, the first 2 ones are search campaigns, so they are going to be a little bit more expensive. So let's take the cheapest one, which is a regular YouTube ad campaign. $1.33. That is in the US, Canada, UK, Germany, and Australia. So this is in the most competitive countries, so you will not be paying less than this. So if you're paying $1.33 per click and you need 143 people to sell 1 unit, that means that you're going to pay $190 to make $50 on the first day. So once again, spending $190 to make $50 back on the first day. Now, using the LTV calculator, if that person stays for 3 months, which is very normal in info, that's very standard in an info retention MRR whatever offer, you are spending $190 to make $150 back in 90 days. In 90 days on average. And by the way, let's say you even manage to double your retention, which would be insane. You double your retention to 6 months. Okay, so your info offer now has 6 months average retention. So now a customer is worth, rather than $150, they're worth $300. So you're like, okay, cool, I spend $190 to make $300 back. No, you make $300 back over 6 months, okay? So you're gonna have a situation where it takes you 4 months just to break even. Now listen, if you can get a small loan of $10 million or $1 million or $5 million to make it work, bless you, go for it. But this is not realistic for a beginner. Do you see how the math simply doesn't math? And that is why I do not recommend starting with low ticket MRR. I mean, just look at me. I only launched my low ticket subscription last year when I already had over 5 million subscribers on my YouTube channel. And to this day, it's still only a fraction of what I have done with digital products when selling my way. You know, it's funny, sometimes they call me course seller final boss. Should I be offended by that? Like, is that an insult? Please feel free. If you think you can make $100 million with digital products, high ticket, mid ticket, low ticket, I've profited more than 8 figures with all of those models, some more profitable than others, but combining all of those strategies, I've done 9 figures with the business model. And that's not all. That is exactly what I did for 4 years when I was running an agency. That's what I was helping my clients with. I'm the #1 expert in the world when it comes to this stuff. So these days I'm far more focused on my software companies. But you know, when people try to hit me with the insult of like, yeah, you're the digital product final boss, like as if that's like some insult, like, no, thank you. I'm very proud of the fact that I'm the best in the world at what I do. I take that as a compliment. I know how to do this shit like no one else. And I can give you advice on this stuff like no one else can, because I'm the only one who's made more than 8 figures in profit from each one of those strategies and more than 9 figures from all those combined. brand. So I'm trying to help you out when I tell you that you should try to make the most money per follower. Now ask yourself, the people who are winning the biggest in info and digital products, why do you think everyone out there, all of them, sell a product that's more than $1,000? Because that is how you make the most money per follower. Now let's evaluate what the numbers look like for a digital product like that. Now let's say that instead of trying to do a low monthly charge for your digital product, you decide to sell your digital product for a one-time fee instead. And let's say that you were to sell your digital product for $2,000. And by the way, I say $2,000 only because I know that a lot of you have limiting beliefs around how much you can actually charge, which by the way is just totally bullshit from your mind. Ideally, you should be selling your digital product anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, especially as a beginner. Later down the line, it can make sense to go more mid-ticket. And there's some examples for this, but as a beginner, especially when you're first starting, $5,000 to $10,000 is the best price point. I mean, once again, if you take a look at Alex Hormozi, how he made all of his money, he used to sell his coaching packages for gym launch at $42,000 a year.
We had a room of 700 plus people. How much did they pay to be there? And I said $42,000 a year.
Just so you understand, on average, gyms make $30,000 a year in profit, and he still managed to sell tens of millions of dollars of his coaching program for $42,000. That guy was literally charging gym owners more than they were profiting in a year. And by the way, I don't say that in any negative or begrudging way. I'm just saying that to show you that clearly, if you have a problem that people want to pay for in the form of a digital product, whether that be a high-ticket coaching offer, whether that be a mid-ticket course, whether that is a Kindle book is just a digital product. They're all just digital products. It's all just info. Now, we've already discussed you want to stay away from the low-ticket stuff, but however you want to package it, the point is if you can find something the market finds value in, you will get paid for it and you'll make a lot of money, especially if you pair it up with a personal brand. Personal brand and info/digital products, you put those two together, and I've honestly never seen a more bulletproof way to become not only just a millionaire, a multimillionaire, and even multiple 8 figures in actual cash flow profit. Going back to the example that I told you, you can easily charge $5,000 to $10,000, but let's say you go against my advice and you just sell it for $2,000. For you to make the same $200,000 to $300,000 of the last example, you would need 100 to 150 sales in a year. Now, here's where things get very interesting. Do you know how many people you would need to get those 150 sales? You would think that if in the last example you needed 143 people, then you would need way more here because this product is way more expensive, right? Wrong. My conversion rate on my products that are over $1,000 price point is actually higher than that of my low ticket subscriptions. Now, how is that possible? Because there is a very big variable that most people ignore here. Volume. You see, with low ticket info offers, you need hundreds of thousands of people clicking on your page. That is insane volume, and the conversion rate goes down exponentially with the more volume that you put in, because it is way easier to find 1,000 qualified prospects than 1,000,000 qualified prospects. And as you scale up your volume, the quality of prospects clicking goes down dramatically. Just so you understand, I've had conversion rates of upwards of 4.53% back when I used to sell my digital products on how to start an agency. So really, I only needed 22 people seeing my digital product page to get 1 sale. So to get those 150 sales, I only needed 3,300 people clicking on my product page, which then equates to 33,000 views on your videos across multiple videos across the entire year. That's not really an unachievable figure at all. With just a few thousand followers, you can already get to that point. And that's exactly how I made shy of $2 million with that video. They only got 180,000 views that I showed you back in episode 1. This is almost like, 3 years ago at this point. So with all of this being said, it should be very clear to you at this point that if you want to monetize your personal brand with digital products, the best way to start is by selling high ticket digital products. Now you might be wondering, how do we do that? With a minimum viable digital product that we sell as a coaching offer. Now we already talked a lot about this in the last episode because it is very simple. And with that, you're gonna make a shit ton more for each sale, and you only need a few sales to get to $10,000 a month and get a couple dozen sales to get to $100,000 a month, compared to selling hundreds or even thousands of units a month of low ticket MRR, which by the way is hard for even me to do with 6 million YouTube sub channel and 7 years of experience in this industry. Now this might sound counterintuitive, but this type of product is actually easier to sell than low ticket MRR because of the perceived value. You see, there is one massive flaw with the low ticket MRR model. People buy a digital product because they have a problem, and you have the solution, and they want to get that solution as quickly as possible. I mean, think of a book. No one wants to buy a book, read a book, and still be paying for that same book 9 months from now. You would be like, what the I already bought it, I paid for the information. Why are you charging me 9 months later? Ideally, you want to read the book once, get the desired result as fast as possible, and never think of it again. People want speed, and that is why our minimum viable digital product works so well, because people pay you and get to the desired result within just a few weeks. And the most important reason as to why we start with this type of product: 90% of people who succeed with their minimum viable digital product have a very easy time transitioning to automated digital products later on. Because by then, it's very simple. You already have an audience, you already have proof of concept, you already know what works and what doesn't, and you already have a ton of success cases to show. You have authority, you have a ton of money to invest in production and ads. So at this point, you already have every single thing you need to be successful with automated digital products. All you need to do is sit down and record a few classes on the very topic you already ran dozens of people through. And you know exactly how to do that. And then you just package it up and put it for sale. And at that point, it's very hard for it not to work. Now, trying to do that without the expertise, without the audience, without the proof of concept. And that's a very big thing. The reason you start with a high ticket digital product in the form of a coaching offer is because you want to validate the concept. Listen, trust me, I've spent millions of dollars on production, sets, having the most beautiful locations in the world, traveling with a massive team with red cameras, creating courses. I have spent millions of dollars on that. The idea of spending all of this time, effort, energy, everything to create a course and not even know if the market wants it, like that would like break my heart. And I don't want you to make that mistake. It is much easier to sell a high ticket digital product in the form of coaching, validate it, make a bunch of money. And by the way, there's people selling high ticket digital products, selling coaching, who are making $1 million a month. So if you want to keep going with that model, you can keep going with it. Or later, if you want to package it up in the form of an automated digital product, I'll help you with the whole thing. I'll give you the playbook. I've done this better than anyone else. I've even helped countless clients in my agency do this. So I know how this stuff works and I know how to do it in the right order. So listen, if you want to succeed with digital products, all you need to do is to ensure you succeed with the first step, which is your minimum viable digital product. Because once you succeed with that, transitioning to automated becomes extremely simple. And that is exactly why I told you to treat your MVP as your research and development phase. Because once you go through this phase, you have a proven product. And most importantly, you got paid tens of thousands of dollars, if not even hundreds of thousands, to actually run this research phase. It's what I call earn to learn. Most people fail to monetize their personal brands with digital products because they simply try to skip the step. They try to go straight to the automated digital product, complex, blah, 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 this, that. All of this to say that there are two main ways to sell digital products: the inefficient way and the smart way. The inefficient way is trying to monetize through low ticket MRR. It's inefficient because the math simply doesn't work. And show me a single person who has actually been making millions consistently for years from low ticket MRR. There is no one, or at least not profitably at least. I mean, listen, if you get $50 million in funding and you treat it like a real software company, well then maybe you can make it work. I mean, just look at Masterclass. They have $461 million in funding for this form of low ticket info MRR model and still haven't been able to become sustainable, which basically is a fancy way of telling the investors we're still losing money. Now, take the smart way. That's the approach that everyone who's successful at this takes. And I've made over $100 million with this. That's how Tony Robbins has made hundreds of millions of dollars. That's how Russell Brunson has made hundreds of millions of dollars. Alex Hormozi, he probably made between $60 to $80 million with Gym Launch doing this exact same thing. Russell Brunson, he's made tens of millions of dollars with info products. Even some of the lesser known public names like Dan Henry, he's made dozens of millions of dollars doing this. This approach works on the idea that less is more. A single digital product and a few thousand followers are all you need to print millions using this method. Now, the perfect example of this is the Mickelson twins. And they actually used to be clients of mine many years ago at my agency. In fact, I'll find a testimonial that they recorded for me.
What's up, guys? It's the Mickelson twins. Massive shout out to Iman and his team, because how much money they have made for us.
They've made over $100 million with a single digital product, teaching people how to sell audiobooks on Amazon. So you would think that they're world famous, everyone knows them. No, they have like 15,000 followers on Instagram. So my question to you is, do you want to make your life difficult, or do you want to play this the smart way? So if you decided to be smart, let me show you how to take the smart way to launch and monetize your personal brand with my 5-step done-for-you system. This model is what I call the personal branding blueprint, and it is composed of 5 steps. Choose, synthesize, launch, scale, and then package. Now, when you execute this process correctly, you should be able to get your first few thousand followers within the next 12 weeks. And then you're gonna be able to create your digital product even if you have no previous experience or anything to teach. And then from there, we're gonna launch it as an MVP, and this will be your R&D phase. And that should take about 90 days where you're gonna get paid to test your product without having to invest dozens of hours into product development and recordings. And again, 90% of your success really comes down to just the first 3 steps. If you are successful here, taking that MVP, that coaching offer, and transitioning it to an automated digital product and scaling it from there is an easy task. So let's go back to step number 1. Step 1 is choose a topic. Here we want certainty. We want to be sure that the content and the product that we put out there is going to be successful and have the potential to generate us $1 million. And that is what happens when you have what I call a unique value zone. There are really 2 keys to choosing the right unique value zone. Key number 1 is you want to go for a non-entertainment based topic. Instead, you want to go for a value-based unique value zone. And right now, I want to give you a few examples of people killing it with value-based unique value zones. Miss Excel, she started by posting a video a day on TikTok about Excel. Yes, Microsoft Excel. And by the fourth video, she had reached 100,000 views. And a few days later, 100,000 followers. A few months later, she had her first six-figure month. And 6 months later, she made $100,000 in a single day. So if you think you don't have any special skills or that you can't do this is a perfect example of a unique value zone that anyone can get into and be successful. This is how little sophistication is required to be successful when combining a personal brand with digital products. Another example is one of the digital products with the most sales on Udemy. It's about how to read faster. More than 230,000 people have purchased that single digital product. From that product alone, he made millions of dollars. I'm talking about NBA or professional football career earnings kind of money. And that is precisely what a value-based unique value zone is. Key number 2 is pick something with commercial value. What you don't want to do is take the typical approach of make a list of things that you're passionate about. If you like cooking, create a baking course. By the way, I'm not saying that that doesn't work. I'm just saying that trying to build a business around something with low commercial value is just a recipe for disaster, if you pardon the pun. It's actually easier to make money with this by focusing on a problem that you don't yet know how to solve than trying to turn a low commercial value problem into a profitable product. So here is how you check for commercial value. You simply want to ask yourself the 4 following questions. Is it applicable in practice? Does it have demand? Does it have a real world impact? And can it be scaled? If any of the answers is no, then this topic has no commercial value and you should not go for it. If all the answers are yeses, this has commercial value and it's that simple. Step number 2 is synthesize knowledge. What we want to do here is very simple. You can find every piece of information you need to become an expert in your topic. All the knowledge you need to solve the problems of your unique value zone is online. So to create our digital products as quickly as possible, we use AI to synthesize all that information into a 3 to 5 step actionable plan. You see, a lot of times people say, oh, but you can find the information online when it comes to a course, a digital product. Yes, that's true, but you know how hard it is to synthesize and take all the information that's online out there. I'm talking about the fact that it would take you your entire life to study all the material out there. And it's not only that, it's about putting it in the right order and actually creating a 3 to 5 step action plan. That is what people pay for when it comes to digital products. Now, what doesn't change here is quality. This action plan needs insane quality for your digital product to work. After all, people need to experience the promised transformation of your product. There needs to be a clear before and after state of what they experience after going through your product. And that's why you have to be very careful with the generic AI apps like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini when creating this action plan. All of these tools are used for basic tasks. They don't have the capability to put together a digital product with $1 million potential. And that's why I spent the last 18 months developing my own AI tool for this, Synthesis AI. I developed this tool because we were releasing 1 new program a month inside of Digital Launchpad, my mobile app, and I'm spending all this money on instructors and locations and this and that, and it's like they're having such a tough time synthesizing their knowledge down. So I literally had to build this tool as an internal tool to start with, and we've developed it over the last 18 months that it is genuinely a game changer. Now I'm looking to launch this probably in Q2, maybe Q3 of 2025, so later on this year. Now listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna charge crazy amounts for it. It's probably gonna be like $30 or $40 a month, but at the moment it's still in closed beta, so nothing here to sell you. At the moment, I'm just looking for a few people to beta test this for us, and I'm gonna show you in just a bit how you can actually get access to this software. But anyways, the results we're getting from this tool are actually insane. It basically creates everything for you. It develops the entire step-by-step outline for your digital product in excruciating detail, and even creates the tools you need to complete each step. It's crazy because something that used to take entire months has been compressed down to minutes, and that is an outline that you can quickly turn into a minimum viable product and start selling right away without any learning curve at all or requiring any previous experience. And I'll give you an example. I'm actually gonna head over to the dashboard of the tool itself, and I wanna show you just how easy it is to use. So if you wanna put your digital product outline together, let's start with your unique value zone here. First, you have to put in the area of expertise you want your digital product to be around. If you don't have any expertise, you can just leave it open and the AI will come up with a list of profitable UVZs for you across all different industries. And then you just click next and it will start generating the most profitable unique value zones within the area you define. And then it's gonna automatically rank them from best to worst for you to choose from, all using the criteria that I showed you back in episode 3, which is pain, worsening, purchasing power, and speed. And then it's gonna go through the entire knowledge extraction process I already showed you on episode 3. And with that, it's going to come up with the top authorities in your niche. It's going to extract their methods. It's going to create the before and after state of your ideal prospect. It's going to develop your transformation map for you. And finally, you just click here, and based on all the info gathered throughout this knowledge extraction process, it will start developing your step-by-step digital product outline in excruciating detail for you. And this outline will give you the step-by-step action plan on what your client needs to do to achieve their desired result. The after state, your product will generate them, and it even tells you the tools you will need to provide them to do that. And as if that wasn't enough, it develops those tools for you. So literally all you have to do is start selling your MVP, because you already have everything you need to deliver it. And that's it. You used to need to develop all of this yourself, but not anymore. And because it is pulling all this information from the world's most powerful brain, the internet, it already has everything it needs to put together a digital product with the potential of generating $1 million in revenue. This makes what used to be the hardest part of selling digital products, which is actually developing a good product in the first place, the easiest part of the process. And just so you understand, you only need to do this once. This has the potential of providing you with a job replacing income after going through this process just once. My question to you is, could you do this just once? Because if you can, congratulations, my friend. You have a product with $1 million potential in the palm of your hands. Now, step number 3 is launch your minimum viable digital product. Now, this is why our method works so well. Instead of launching right away and having to record an entire digital product, we launch it first as a coaching offer. That is, we take the 3 to 5 stage action plan that the AI puts together for us, and instead of having to spend weeks recording a bunch of classes for each stage, we simply run this as a coaching program first. And doing this is very straightforward. What you're gonna do is you just take the tools and the step-by-step outline that the Synthesis AI developed for you. I mean, it's literally step-by-step instructions, right? And then you just run people through the step-by-step instructions on a call together with them. Literally, all you need to be able to do here is follow simple instructions. Can you do that? If so, you already have everything you need to make your first $100,000 with digital products. By starting this way, it allows you to validate your offer quickly and gather immediate feedback for improvements, launch and start making money right away without any product development. And it allows you to sell each product for $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 per unit instead of just a few dozen dollars. Now, I know this might sound counterintuitive, but it's also easier to sell because of the personal connection and exclusivity. In short, this type of offer is easy to sell, easy to deliver, relies on logic and not on emotional triggers or high pressure selling. And most importantly, you only need a handful of sales to make tens of thousands of dollars with this MVP digital product. This is like your pilot product. This is your R&D phase. Again, it should take around 90 days with this initial version of your digital product. All we're doing here is basically guaranteeing you're not screwing those first 90 days. Because as I mentioned earlier, 90% of people who are successful with this step have a very easy time transitioning to an automated digital product in the next step. Is this starting to make sense, by the way? If it is, if you're watching this live, just put a 1 in the chat. By the way, I'm literally live watching this as this goes out with you. So I'll be checking the live chat right now. Anyways, let's move on to step number 4, which is scaling your automated digital product. Finally, once you complete this R&D phase, our next step is to turn it into an MVP automated digital product. That is when you can truly create a product once and sell it thousands of times. This is how you're gonna print millions, if not even tens of millions of dollars from your personal brand. Now, pay attention here, because this is where most people really go wrong. You should not have an automated digital product until you make your first tens of thousands, if not even hundreds of thousands of dollars with your MVP. Because before you make sales, you don't have proof of concept yet. So as I kind of talked about earlier, you might spend all of this time putting together your automated digital product only to realize that no one wants to buy it. Now, once you already have proof of concept, creating your automated digital product becomes super easy. All you have to do is just take those same 3 to 5 steps from the outline the Synthesis AI created for you. You know, the ones you ran people through on your MVP digital product, and then you turn them into pre-recorded classes. So that way you don't personally need to run people through each stage every single time. It's just as simple as downloading Loom and recording yourself walking through each step of each stage. You can have 3 to 7 videos per stage, 3 to 5 stages, and with that, you will have your automated digital product. You just need to host it somewhere and you're ready to sell it thousands of times without any additional input required from you, thanks to how easy the Synthesis AI makes all of this. Now, if you're smart, at this point, you already understand how you can use this to either create a $1 million product from scratch or 10x whatever it is that you're already doing. Now, finally, our last step is developing our 7-figure personal brand. This is where you grow from a few thousand followers to a few dozens of thousands or potentially even hundreds of thousands. And it's actually super simple. As I mentioned in episode 2, all you need to start and grow a successful personal brand is to focus on a metric called watch time. Listen, number of views doesn't really matter. They have no correlation to how much money you're going to make. I'm telling you right now, you can get 1,000 views of the right people or 1,000,000 views of the wrong people, or not enough time engaged with you, so the watch time is too short, and make the same exact amount of money. What matters is how long people watch your videos for, or how long did they read your posts for, your LinkedIn posts, your X posts, whatever it is. The math here is simple. A personal brand with 20 minutes watch time and 1,000 followers will sell more than a personal brand with 100,000 followers and an average of 1 minute watch time. It is simply disproportional. It does not scale linearly. So how do we optimize for watch time? Well, there's 3 elements to it. The first one is packaging. Now, I've already given you in episode 2 the thumbnail and title templates that are proven to work across all industries that you can literally just fill in the blanks for your specific niche. This way, you don't have to come up with the packaging on your own, which is the most difficult part of all of this. Now, the second element is retention. 80% of your retention comes down to your hook. That is what you say in the first 30 seconds of your video. If people watch for longer than 30 seconds, then they are hooked on your video and will pretty much watch until the very end. So all you need to do is to ensure that your first 30 seconds of your video or post are flawless. And again, this entire art of writing engaging hooks is a science on its own. And instead of trying to become an expert at it, which takes months and sometimes even years, the best way to start is simply taking hooks that are proven to work. Now, I've already provided you with 3 of my favorite proven hooks inside of the 12 different ones that we have inside the personal branding blueprint. So that way you can just simply use those. Finally, our third element to optimize for watch time is format. There are specific formats of content that are proven to perform well. And I have already given you 2 proven formats: brand leveraging and ultimate guides. This works in any industry, and it is the best way to get hundreds of thousands of qualified views to your videos or posts, especially on brand new accounts. If you do this right, these 2 content formats alone can create a 7-figure personal brand for you. And by the way, that is just 2 of the 7 total formats inside the personal branding blueprint. So I have just shown you the $684 million per day personal brand economy is gonna double by 2028. How you can get your first few thousand followers within 12 weeks and make your first 5 figures with as little as 1,000 followers, as well as how we're using AI to create your entire digital program for you faster and easier than ever before, as well as at a higher quality than ever before. And then how to launch the first MVP version of your digital product and make tens of thousands of dollars with just a handful of sales before you ever have to record anything or invest hundreds of hours in product development. And finally, how you can scale to 7 figures with an automated digital product that you can create once and sell thousands of times. Now, I'm gonna tell you as it is, business is not a fair game. Every single person that I've used as a success case during this event had an unfair advantage that you don't have, which basically guarantees that they will be successful no matter what. And you can either choose to hate or you can choose to take advantage of this yourself. Creating your personal brand and then monetizing it with digital products is the unfair advantage. What you need to understand is that you don't have to do this perfectly to be successful. It's just logical because of something called compounding results. I mean, just think about it. Every single follower you get, they stack on top of each other. It's not like an e-commerce store where you have to start back from 0 every single month. If you get 10,000 followers, you now have that 10,000 person audience for life. If in the next month you get 10,000 more followers, you now have 20,000 and so on. But most importantly, the more followers and views you get, the easier it becomes to get even more followers and even more views. And that is why I say that as long as you stick to this, success becomes inevitable. My personal advice to you here is this: even if you don't think this works, just try it, just give it a shot, because it doesn't really cost much. And if it does work, it could become the best decision you've made this entire decade. It is simply undeniable that if you have a personal brand, you will never, ever, ever have to worry about money ever again. All right, so today is the day that everything changes. This is the day that I've been looking forward to for almost 2 years at this point. You see, it all started back in summer of 2023 when I had a pretty big conversation with my team. And the conversation was basically this: I knew that we were fast approaching $100 million in earnings from digital products at that point. And it was at that point we were basically overhauling and rejigging everything at my main software company. So it kind of got me thinking, could we stop charging people for telling them where the oil is, which is what my programs do and do better than any other program out there, by the way, and instead give you that for free, and instead just charge you for the tools, aka the oil rig, to actually extract and process the oil, which is how you actually make money with this thing, okay? Because I knew if we could pull this off, it would simply be the most lethal package, the most lethal solution that the market has ever seen. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. At first, I wasn't satisfied with what we developed. To be honest, that's why it's taken so long to get to this point. So after almost 2 years working on this, I'm finally ready to reveal what I have created. Something that bridges the gap between education and the tools you need to actually put that education into practice. Today, we're gonna reinvent the online business industry, and I'm calling it monetize. You see, there are 3 ways to make millions with this. If you already have a product to sell, you're gonna be able to sell 10 times more of it. If you already have expertise, but don't yet have a product to sell, you're gonna be able to create a product and start monetizing it through your personal brand within just a few weeks from now. Or, third option, if you don't have any expertise and you don't yet have a product to sell, with just a few clicks of a button, you're gonna be able to use other people's knowledge to get a product with $1 million potential created right in front of your eyes. And with what I'm gonna give you inside of Monetize, you too will be able to do exactly what I did to generate $108 million for my personal brand. I'm gonna give you the blueprint and the tools. So let's start with the blueprint first. And that is the personal branding blueprint. It is the 5-step method that I've just shown you. Over the last 2 episodes, I've given you a little glimpse, a little teaser of what the personal branding blueprint is. And by the way, that's just a tiny little fraction of the entire method. I have created the perfect plan to turn your computer into a money printing machine, even if you think you suck at business or you have no previous experience, because when you have a personal brand, you could do everything wrong and you're still gonna be successful. And I'm not gonna simply teach you how to create one. I'm gonna give you my done for you structure. It is all laid out in simple step-by-step training, accompanied with SOPs, resources, plug and plays, like everything that you could ever possibly need. It is all done for you. And all of that to get your first few thousand followers, build your micro niche personal brand within 12 weeks, and then monetize it with a digital product. All you have to do is come in and simply follow the instructions on the training. It is a 5-phase blueprint. Phase 1 is where we're gonna create your minimum viable product. There, I'm gonna walk you through how to find your unique value zone. Then, how to find out your audience's high value problems with problem farming and rank those problems to evaluate the most profitable UVZs. And then, we're gonna test that UVZ for commercial viability. Then, together, we're gonna develop your audience's visceral transformation and draw their current state before using your product, and then their desired state, that is, their state after experiencing the transformation from your product. Then, we're gonna go through the knowledge extraction process using the synthesis AI to draw this transformation map of 3 to 5 stages of your prospect's needs to go through to go from their current state to their desired state. From there, we're going to develop a detailed action plan by breaking down each step into specific tasks. And finally, we're going to develop the tools you're going to give your clients for them to fill out and complete each task on their own. This way, you don't have to do things for them because they can execute everything themselves through these tools as well as resources. And we're going to develop all of that with the help of synthesis AI. So that way we don't have to spend months doing any research ourselves or have any previous experience. Then we're gonna set this product up on Flowzy so that way we're ready to deliver it to our clients. We are gonna create your brand monetizing offer. That is, I wanna show you how to structure this product as a tangible offer that is easy to communicate, easy to understand, and easy to sell. Here, we're gonna define your pricing, the logistics of how your product's gonna be delivered, and set a clear, tangible goal and impact that it will create for your customers. Finally, we're gonna create your unique profit branding. That is, your unique selling angle and the name of your method. By the end of this phase, you will have what I call your minimum viable product charter. That is a few-page document that contains programs names, its general objective, the expected results, the ideal profile of your target audience, the delivery format, the program structure broken down by stages and specific weekly goals, the support structure, resources, the materials, the pricing, as well as the payment terms. All of this laid out. Now at this point, you're gonna have everything you need to start selling and make a few $1,000s all the way up to $100,000 from your minimum viable digital product. In phase 2, we're gonna build up your micro personal brand to your first 1,000 followers. This phase is the reason I told you this is a done for you structure. It'll first show you how to pick the platform where you're gonna create content for your personal brand. And then we're gonna define your content plan. We're gonna come up with the angle for your first 30 to 50 pieces of content using problem farming. So that way you never run into a situation where you don't know what content to create next. And then I'm gonna give you my 7 proven content formats so that way you know exactly how to turn those ideas into actual pieces of content without any guesswork or having to depend on creativity. After that, I'm gonna show you how to package your content for maximum clicks and retention, the 2 metrics that will get the algorithm to promote your content by using proven structures. And then I'm gonna give you my personal collection of proven thumbnails and title templates that I've tested on my own channel and have generated me over 250 million views just on my main YouTube channel alone. There's no other person on this side of the internet who has tested systems so thoroughly and as detailed as my thumbnail and title testing system. And you're gonna get the results of thousands of tests handed to you on a silver platter. These templates literally work for any niche or any industry, and you can just take these title templates and fill in the blanks with the details for your specific niche. Same for the thumbnails. You can just take them and edit them directly on easy to use softwares like Canva. I have literally prepared all of this for you, by the way. I'm literally taking all the guesswork that leads people to failure out of the picture with this. Finally, I'm I'm gonna give you my collection of 12 proven hooks that have been tested across different industries and worked in every single one. You can use them for your own content, so that way you don't need to spend months trying to become a script master. This is the easiest way to guarantee your content will perform, and it will also make the scripting of it so much easier because you basically get to fill in the blanks in a pre-written script instead of having to start from a blank page. Phase 3 is where we're gonna get your first 10 digital product sales. Getting those first few sales is the difference between going on to make millions from your personal brand later down the line or simply quitting before you ever get started. That is why I created this phase, to show you how to get your first few sales, even if you're starting from zero and just getting your first few hundred followers without having to depend on paid ads, long sales processes, funnels, or any other complex strategy. The only thing you're gonna create here is a simple document to sell your program, and that's it. I'm gonna teach you how to present your entire offer to potential customers and run your entire sales process all through one single text document. With this document model, you're gonna be able to sell products for $1,000, $5,000, $20,000, or even $50,000. And I'm gonna give you 5 proven strategies to get people interested in what you sell in the first place. 3 of them are specifically for people starting with no audience, so that way you can make sales even if you have 0 followers, and 2 of them are for people who already have an audience, even if it's super small. Here, you're gonna master the social selling process. That is, selling through your social media platforms. And finally, I'm gonna show you exactly what to do once you get your first client, how to onboard them with Flowzy, how to get the contract signed, how to get payment, and how to structure their client flow inside of Flowzy with all the steps they need to take. Phase 4 is where we're gonna scale your 7-figure personal brand. Here, you're gonna understand how the algorithm works from the inside. We're gonna cover more advanced strategies like thumbnail rehashing, RPM optimization, finding growth topics, and much more. This is where you're gonna go from novice to top 1% personal branding expert. Phase 5 is where we finally transition from 6 to 7 figures with your automated digital products that you create once and sell thousands of times. Here, I'm gonna show you how to automate all the processes that you're still doing manually with your MVP, all the way from selling to product delivery. And I'm actually gonna show you how to put together a video that will replace you as a salesperson and will generate sales 24/7, 7 days of the week for you. And that is exactly how I personally made over $20 million from a single YouTube video. By the end of this phase, you're gonna have a product that can sell thousands of units on autopilot without ever having to lift a finger after everything is set up. With this blueprint, I've removed all the guesswork from the process of launching your personal brand and monetizing it with digital products. Now, let's get to the second part of the equation, the tools. You see, I already gave you the blueprint showing you where the oil is. Now, I will give you the oil rig to extract it. The first tool is the synthesis AI. With this simple tool, anyone can become an expert at solving a specific problem in just a matter of days. And inside of Monetize, you're gonna be able to be one of the beta testers of this tool before I launch it publicly later this year. The second tool is Flowzy, which is a tool you're gonna use to go from $0 to $100,000 with your MVP digital product. This is the tool you're gonna use to host and give your clients access to all the content, the outline, and the tools that you will develop with the Synthesis AI. Flowzy is the tool you're gonna use to onboard your clients, get paid, communicate with them, book calls, send invoices, and everything else you need to sell and deliver your first minimum viable digital product. Just so you understand how huge this is, before, if you wanted to sell your own high-ticket digital product, you would need a CRM, page builder, contracts, invoices, client onboarding, communication, tasks, notes and file management, and then Zapier to connect everything together. Just from these softwares alone, you would pay $3,245 a year minimum. And this is not one of those inflated prices, oh, if you were to buy all of this in an offer with a bunch of shit that people would never buy. No. You need these tools to run your business, whether you like it or not. There is not a single person who actually makes money through their personal brand who is not paying for these tools. There's simply no way around it. I mean, think about it. You will always have to pay for tools in life, no matter what business you're in. Just like if you're gonna be a dentist, you need a dental chair. If you're gonna be a barber, you're gonna need scissors and trimmers. If you're gonna be a software engineer, you need a good computer. If you're gonna dig for oil, you need an oil rig. Even if you have a lemonade stand, you need a lemon squeezer. It doesn't matter what the fuck you do, you're gonna need tools. So what I'm proposing here is instead of paying for 10 or 20 tools, you pay for one single subscription and get everything you need in one platform. That is what Monetize allows you to do. Plus, I have something very exciting for you because the first 500 people who sign up are gonna get a special bonus that I'm gonna show you in just a minute. But just quickly so you understand what you're gonna get here today. You're gonna get a 12-month subscription to Flowzy, which normally goes for $1,068 and basically includes everything you need to get your first dozens of clients for your MVP digital product. You're also gonna get a 12-month subscription to Synthesis AI, which is gonna be sold at $480 a year when it launches. And finally, you're gonna get the personal branding blueprint. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say the program is worth $20,000 or $10,000 because in all honesty, I've never sold it. But both you and I know that I've made over $100 million selling programs like this for $1,500. In fact, to prove this, I'm gonna ask my team to put a screen recording from Stripe here on screen, scrolling through tens of thousands of transactions of people paying me $1,500 for a program just like this. I mean, remember, people call me course seller final boss for a reason. I know how to do this better than anyone else. And listen, I'm gonna be very honest with you here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was very tempted to sell you this course, okay? I'm just gonna keep it real because I know for a fact that I would make $10 million. I would pocket $10 million just this week alone if I sold this as a course rather than selling you the tools. And I know over the next few years, I would probably make an extra $100 to $200 million selling this to you guys. And I'm not gonna lie, that was quite tempting. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. And by the way, especially because this is the first time I'm ever talking about personal branding and digital products. And this is the topics that people have been begging me to teach them for years now. And this is the first time ever that it will be a product I could sell not only just to the person who's getting started, but to established business owners. Business owners making $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, even $1 million a month are gonna buy this because they know the power of a personal brand and the power of digital products. And I know those two things better than anyone else. But honestly, lately, I've just been so focused on my software companies. So here's what I decided. You know what? Let me not get distracted here and focus on the main thing, which is my software companies. Again, I want to keep it 100% honest with you guys. I'm coming from a very privileged place here where I've already made $100 million from digital products. Listen, is another 100 or 200 tempting? Yeah, 100%. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I'm in a very fortunate position where I could have stopped working so many years ago at this point, and that revenue isn't something that's going to make or break my companies. So that is why I decided you are not going to pay anything, not a single penny, for the personal brand blueprint. And in fact, I'm not even going to charge you for the Synthesis AI. All you are going to pay for today is Flozy. Finally, for the first 500 who get the subscription to monetize, you're actually going to get a mentorship with me. This is an incentive for those who are action takers because I know you're going to be the ones with the highest likelihood of succeeding with this. So for me, it's worth investing my personal time in you guys to help you speed run your way to your first profitable digital product. Because listen, I want my success stories to be insane. So that's why you're going to get one mentorship call a week for 6 weeks straight. The goal is very simple. Get your digital product up and running and get your first few thousand followers for your personal brand. All with me walking you through and holding your hand along the process. I've never done something to this level of mentorship. Now, this entire stack adds up to a total price of $3,048. And by the way, I'm not even counting the mentorship because I don't sell that anywhere. Now, as I already said, today, all you're going to be paying for is the subscription for Flozy, meaning the beta access to Synthesis AI, free. The personal branding blueprint, free. The 6-week mentorship with me, free. You're going to get all of that at no extra charge. In fact, because the pro plan for Flozy is $89 a month and that comes out to like $1,068 a year, it's a bit of an ugly number. I decided that in fact, it's going to be less than the price of a single yearly subscription to Flozy. You're going to get it even cheaper than that. You're only going to pay $999 for this 12-month subscription to monetize, and you're going to get everything that I just talked about. This is literally everything you need to launch your personal brand and monetize it through a minimum viable digital product, including, and most importantly, the tools that you would need to pay for, regardless if you got a subscription to monetize or not. And by the way, I don't want to seem like I'm trying to do this for charity work or anything. Like, yes, of course, it's nice I'm not charging you for the course or Synthesis, whatever, but selling a software stack makes my offer 10 times stronger, which means more revenue for my software company, more users for my software company, and luckily for you, it means a better deal for you that 10x's your chances of success without adding a penny to the total cost that I'm charging. So here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna leave this up for just this week and close it with no previous warning. As I said, I don't wanna get too many people inside Synthesis AI because it hasn't launched yet and I simply don't know how much traffic it can handle. So as soon as my developers tell me that they have enough data to test everything, I'm gonna simply close the offer. So I'm officially opening the subscriptions right now. You can find the link to buy in the description below this video, or if you're watching the live premiere right now, I'm gonna personally drop the link in the live chat in 3, 2, 1, now. When you click this link, you'll get redirected to the offer page where you can see all the details of this subscription. We also have a full team of people ready to help you live in case you have any questions. Now, you might be asking, why are you doing this? I'll just keep it straight with you. My success depends on your success. It's really that simple. The only way for me to succeed with this is to not only get as many people as possible inside my software, but I have to make sure you succeed. You do so well that you never dare cancel your subscription. You use Flozy for the next 20 years. Because you're doing that well in your business. And obviously you're only gonna keep paying for it if you actually make money with this. So if you grow your business, I grow my business. We are on the same team here. My business relies on you succeeding. If you don't win, I'll be honest, I'm kind of fucked. So that's why I'm putting everything into this offer. I'm betting that you will be successful with this and you keep using Flozy for years and years to come, because that is how I make my money. So listen, there's no need for me to sit here and keep overhyping how good this is and telling you how great it is. Just go look at the prices for each software on their website out there and see how much each one of them costs separately. properly, and then you can figure out whether this makes sense to you or not. Now, you really have 3 options on what to do next. The first is pretend everything I just showed you simply doesn't exist and keep ignoring the one thing with the potential to make you successful no matter what, which is creating a personal brand and monetizing through digital products. The second one is try to do everything on your own, and that's fine, but it would simply be a dumb decision. Not only would you have to learn everything on your own, but you would also have to buy the tools separately either way. So it would just end up costing you more money, as I have already shown you. And finally, your third option is to just let me hand you the blueprint as well as the tools with Monetize. So that way, for the first time in your life, you can have the map telling you where the oil is, as well as have the oil rig to extract it. I'm giving you all the tools here. And by the way, you literally have no financial risk when you get your Monetize subscription today. And that's because we have a 7-day, no questions asked money back guarantee. So that way, if you come inside, you don't like it for whatever reason it may be, all you have to do is email support asking for a refund, and we'll process it within 48 hours of your request. So with that being said, please, I beg you, stop looking around. Stop looking at all these people printing millions and millions and millions of dollars with their personal brand, and you're just sitting there being a consumer when you should be a creator. And by the way, you only need 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I show you how to do all of these things on TikTok, whatever it may be. You only need a few thousand followers to build a micro personal brand to make you your first $50,000, $100,000. And then from there, if you want to keep it at that position, good, go for it, enjoy it. Or if you want to take it to millions of dollars a month, you can have that whole process with Monetize. As I said, there's literally people out there making millions of dollars a month with their high ticket digital product or a coaching program. And the tools I gave you today allow you to do all of that. So with all that being said, this is your year. This is the year that you make the decision to build the most valuable asset you will ever build in your entire life. Everything I have in my life is because I made a decision all those years ago to build a personal brand. So with that being said, I'm so excited to not only give you the map to show you where the oil is, but finally give you all the tools you actually need to extract that oil. And with that, I will see you inside Monetize. And as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.